We're live with Anthony Vennare, co-founder of Fitt Insider. It's awesome to have you here, Anthony.
Thanks for having me here. Excited to chat.
Yeah, what is Fitt Insider for those out there who don't know yet?
Yeah. We say, the tagline is a business of fitness and wellness, but we look at ourselves as the kind of industry publication resource and kind of a place for the news and analysis on the business of fitness and wellness. It started out as a newsletter, podcast, research reports, content now, jobs board, and much more kind of coming down the road.
And why? Why publish a newsletter? Why get into the insights of fitness and wellness? How did you get into this?
Yeah, my brother and I have been involved in health and fitness for a long time, and owning gyms, owning media businesses, owning startups in health and fitness, and what we saw, what Industry Dive did and other publications that were this B2B side. And then if you look at fitness and wellness, there's URSA, which they do the event, they have some things, but they're also like an industry group and some of the other smaller magazines in that world. But just with where fitness was going and how the landscape was changing starting in like 2019, we said, we know this landscape. No one's really talking about it in this way. Why isn't there a place? Like you think Webb and 2PM and what he's done and like Stratechery and what they've done, what he's done there, there's just so many businesses that cover certain areas of technology or CPG or whatever. If you look at fitness and wellness and health, there just wasn't anything. So started randomly with the newsletter, kind of throwing it out there, and it picked up steam. And then I convinced my brother to host a podcast on the side of it, and he was very reluctant. He tweeted that out not too long ago, where I forced him to do it, and he did not want to. And now I think he just hit 100 episodes and has had a ton of amazing founders on there. So all of that really started picking up, and then COVID happened, and just the attention and the funding in the industry changed so fast overnight. And we were kind of the main source. And since that point, it's just been growing at a crazy rate.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's a great, insightful newsletter, super informative. The podcast is awesome. I've taken a lot of inspiration from your brother, Joe. You get to work with your brother, and you guys are now doing investments and are we're lucky to have you guys as investors in JOON. And then you mentioned COVID. How have things evolved for you guys since COVID? And maybe what are the biggest lessons learned in the last year as you've looked at the fitness and wellness industry?
Yeah. I think, for us, especially myself, I know I shared it publicly not too long ago, but I ran into some health issues right when COVID happened. So my world completely changed. My perspective, I've always been into fitness, obviously trainer, gym owner, all of that stuff. But when your health comes into question and you're not sure about it, I was, someone that was a fitness professional, but also terrible health when it came to sleep and maintaining my overall mental well-being and burnout. And when I got sick, it was just a shock. And then COVID happened. And I think the whole world was shocked by mental health and, burnout and work-life balance and everything. So putting that with also what was already happening, the acceleration of at-home fitness, Tonal's not a new company. It's been around for a while. All of these businesses aren't new. They just have the spotlight of COVID and the attention and funding. So all of that kind of spun into this crazy, acceleration, 5 years into 5 months right after COVID, people just looking at the fitness and wellness landscape. And then it started to open everyone's eyes to more stuff. It was mental health is wellness, and nutrition is wellness, and sleep is wellness and fitness. And, what is it? At home telehealth alcohol. And testing and alcohol. Truly sobriety. Sobriety now is a part of wellness.
Yeah.
And it's, they're zero fasting and what they have with their other app. It's the entire landscape. A lot of things that were on the outside became health and wellness and fitness, and the attention, it was what everybody was looking at for a long period of time. Yeah.
So let's double click on your health. So you had some health challenges pre-COVID as you went into COVID. Can you talk us through that a little bit? What you were going through, and sort of maybe are there products that you were trying or using that you guys are partnered with, or you guys have showcased that you used during that time, or was it a totally like a healthcare type of process of like navigating the healthcare system. What was that all like?
Yeah. So yeah, I was right before COVID, literally a month before we found out that I had a brain tumor. And with where it was located and how it was, the treatment for it wasn't surgery; it was other things. It was chemo, radiation, and other stuff. And I was fortunate that, well, not, I wouldn't say fortunate, but my family has had a history of brain tumors. Luckily, mine wasn't a terminal one, but my father passed away from a terminal brain tumor, and my grandmother passed away from a terminal brain tumor, and a cousin of mine has had similar, I think essentially exactly what I had, and she had to go through chemo radiation at a young age, and that happened, and then the world stopped. So it was a terrible time to have to go through all of that because no one was allowed to go with you, and the whole system, and being scared of going through treatment while getting sick, but also the world slowed down when I had to slow down. So that was a good and bad of it all, crazy and not. And then I ended up getting COVID as well in the middle of it. So that was a huge scare. And that was kind of crazy. And the thing for me was I always was focused on health and wellness, but then, the side of me became like business owner. I want to run businesses. I want to do things. And my health started to decline because I wasn't paying attention to it. And then my mental health started to decline. Like I was forgetful. I couldn't sleep. I had memory problems. There was a lot of things from what was going on, and it scared me. So it was actually a good thing when I found out I had a tumor. I was like, oh, I thought I was losing my mind. At least I know what's going on. There's like a treatable thing. And when you look at healthcare nowadays, as crazy as it is, they don't talk about anything else besides the typical things. Still, the same thing you do now is the same thing they did 10 years ago. So I was fortunate enough to follow Peter Attia and Dom D'Agostino and all these places that you've seen where they talk about diet, nutrition, sleep, supplementation. And I had a whole regimen, and fortunate that I was able to do it where, this didn't fix me, but it helped me deal with all the stuff I had to go through from the treatment side to let me continue to kind of battle this thing. And it was, strict intermittent fasting around treatments, strict keto diet, sleep, and athletic greens and element salts, and
Wow.
certain vitamins and everything, like everything you could ever think of. We looked at and we're like, we're going to try it all.
Wow. So you're sort of like this not poster child, but like going through the wellness space as you were struggling with like a, low point in your life, and something that was probably really traumatic, even finding that out, even though it was in your family. And then all the same at all the same time, like the business is growing and the spotlight is on Fit Insider. And then at some point in that journey, you guys also decide to start making investments. How did that all come about?
Yeah. So we run a number of businesses, and we've tried to raise money in the past. We did successfully with other companies, and I just didn't like investors. They weren't helpful. I didn't like how they treated us. I didn't like the landscape of venture, but I'm a Marine. I never went to college. I didn't think I could be an investor, but we joined Courtside Ventures as advisors, and we were, advising them on the fitness and wellness side. We started advising companies, and with the newsletter and podcasts and our research and the weekly newsletter that would come from me, built a really good relationships with tens of thousands of people. And the more and more we got asked to help and participate, I'm like, oh, we can do this. The only thing stopping us from being phenomenal investors is having the money to do it. So we started investing on the angel side, putting money to work, and really focusing on understanding the market and seeing what we could do and compete in the venture landscape, not from a financing side, but what do founders need? How do we help them? How do you talk to them on a normal level? Don't make them jump through hoops. Don't treat them like they're not just regular people trying to do cool stuff just like you. And that was our whole thing. And we started investing. We've made, obviously, invested in you guys and 14 other companies over the past couple months or 6 months.
Wow.
And now we're in the process of kicking off a true venture fund now under Fit Insider.
That's amazing. As you look at the fitness and wellness space, you guys spend a lot of time sort of looking into research, taking out different statistics and fundraising and acquisitions and all that sort of stuff. Where do you look at the market and say, like, that's oversaturated. I don't even want to look at a business in that world. And where are you, like, what new spaces are getting you the most excited,
Mhm.
um, and that you'd like to see more innovation in?
Yeah. It's, we've written about a ton. It's something I'm super passionate about as a trainer and coach, but the fitness creator market, just everybody rushed there during COVID, and a lot of platforms were kind of building to be the next digital mind body or Shopify for fitness professionals. Vimeo
Yeah.
already existed. There are a lot of companies that did come out of that are phenomenal. We invested in one called Superset that has a coach program where they have an app that, as an individual fitness professional, you could kind of get your programs out there. And there's a lot of other ones, but that market is really saturated. And
Mm.
I just don't think some of the entrepreneurs thinking about it are looking at it from a venture side. There's a huge opportunity to build a lifestyle business or like a, you know, successful business in that space. But when you're thinking on the venture side, like what does this need to be scale wise? There's only going to be a few winners, and there's a lot of people already doing certain aspects. And Vimeo is massive, and the list. I'll share with you after this, but we have under certain categories, we have these kind of Notion pages with all of our research and information and
Oh,
looking at the
cool.
landscape. And the fitness creator one is one that's just so kind of saturated right now. So that's one where,
Yeah, I met a handful of folks during COVID that were working on stuff in that world, and there's a lot of like chicken and egg in terms of acquisition on both sides. And do you start with the trainers first? Do you start with the end consumer first, and then you're competing against the Pelotons of the world or the Obey Fitnesses of the world? So, yeah, interesting to hear your insight on that, and curious to see what's going to come from that space in particular.
yeah, there's a lot of phenomenal businesses in it. But I think for us, it wasn't something that made sense outside of a few kind of companies that were doing some unique things there. And then on the opportunity side, there's so much. We always say that it's like the first inning of a super long game for health and wellness and fitness. The money was held in brick and mortar gyms and franchises and Planet Fitnesses and LA Fitnesses for such a long time. And yes, the digital health funding landscape has been growing, but there's just so much opportunity. So one thing that really stands out to me, at least, is the fitness education side. We wrote a big report on that, and when everyone's trying to be the platform for fitness professionals or work with them for you know content or streaming or give them help use them to sell equipment, but the 400,000 trainers and coaches in the United States and instructors, where do they get certified? What does that mean? A lot of the companies at the
Mm,
top are nonprofits or owned by PE firms that aren't doing the best work out there anymore. So it's a massive landscape to get certified as a trainer, coach, nutritionist, Olympic weightlifting, kettlebell, whatever. That entire landscape, I think, is completely ripe for disruption. And that's something we've been looking at actively. And that's where one of the things we do with the newsletter is we see an idea, and instead of us saying, hey, let's try to start it or do it ourselves, it's let's put our best ideas out there, and hopefully there are people working on this and then we can meet them. And that's how we'll get the investment.
that's really cool. So, like, sort of like a digital, is it NASM?
Yeah.
Not,
Like
yeah,
like NASM, ACE,
yeah,
NSCA, AFA, the whole list, and just thinking about the way they deliver stuff. And then looking
yeah,
at the Udemy and
yeah,
Masterclass and so many other platforms that are built to educate people in some way. How is that not better
yeah,
with how much money is in it?
yeah. The Institute for Integrative Nutrition has done a really good job on that, on the
Yeah.
on the functional nutrition side. Um, when do we draw the line between what really wellness is? It's something that we think a lot about at JOON, and I was even joking when I said alcohol is just like everything is now spun as like, avatars for wellness, like, you know, ex- things like that. Where do you where do you guys sort of like draw the line as you guys are looking at the industry and thinking about like what you actually want to write about, and
Yeah.
actually spend the time thinking about?
It's hard sometimes, but I think I'm a optimist times a million. And the way that I look at it, Joe's not. It's kind of funny how our conflicting views as we look at content, but um, there's the side that there's a lot of people in fitness is ripe with snake oil salesmen and selling things you don't need and high price things and supplements and a lot of stuff that I don't think the world needs. But on the other side, as more and more things become considered wellness and fitness and health, for example, alcohol, like low alcohol drinks or non-alcoholic drinks that are made people feel comfortable drinking in public. I don't drink, and being able to have an athletic brewing or something like that is amazing for me. You can
Mm,
participate, you can be social. So I
yeah.
think, call it wellness, call it whatever you want. It's having people approach their own version of health and wellness, and it's being comfortable with it and being happy with it and opening them up. Sleep, mental health, you know, nutrition, alcohol. Like there's just so much that, what's if it's coming from a positive impact and it's helping people in some way, call it wellness if you want, as long as it's providing value and it's not, just trying to sell you a product. But there's a lot, breath work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Call wellness, make it huge. It helps. It really does help. Stuff like that. I'm all for it. And I want the industry to keep growing. And I want more and more people to, because there's just a large group of people where their health and wellness journey is not going to a gym. It's not buying a Peloton. It's not participating in fitness. It's hiking and walking and playing pickleball, or it's
Yeah.
eating healthy and doing yoga and stretching or meditation or whatever. Awesome. As many people as we can. The biggest problem is that there's not enough people actively pursuing their own health and wellness and having the knowledge and understanding to do it. So whatever comes around that can help that, I'm all for it.
Mm, mm. Yeah, and you guys have seen it from the side of like even starting your own gyms and operating your own gyms. Was there a moment where you kind of looked at Joe and were like, wow, okay, this wellness thing isn't just a gym or a studio. It's like there's so much more to this.
Yeah, it was,
Several
claiming it
moments.
was way earlier than people would have thought. It was in, 2014 and 15 when, we started selling online fitness programs, using PayPal and trying to game Google to show up in search engine. And one of our early like lifestyle businesses, we sat back and we said, fitness and health and wellness is just, it's so far behind. Like the gyms, the way that they're going, even with CrossFit coming on the landscape and like kettlebells and certain training types, just the modalities people were using were changing so fast. And the understanding of fitness and performance was changing so fast. So
Mm,
we sat back even then and we're like, we need to try and learn everything we can about everything. Let's
mm,
absorb as much as we can, pay attention, see what's going on. And, you know, there was the wellness and fitness part, but then there was the business side. Like, how do we understand startups? I come from Pittsburgh, lower middle class family. That raising money blew my mind when the first time I heard it. The fact that someone will give you money to try to make an idea work, I was like, how is this even real life? This is amazing. So that it was like, learn that landscape, learn the business landscape, and then as much as we can about fitness and wellness and health and nutrition, just because we know it's going to be without it, nothing matters.
mm. Yeah, one of the reasons that we at June we're excited to bring you guys on board is because you guys have had not just the gym experience, but and not just the industry experience in terms of the insights and the reports that you guys do, the content that you guys do, but also that you guys have even worked with big healthcare companies in the past and really have a good grip on the landscape of like wellness benefits and corporate wellness benefits. Can you walk us through a little bit of just like how you guys thought about June as investors as you guys were thinking about getting involved?
Yeah. Um, it's funny. We met a while ago when you were working on Avo,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
card
yeah, yeah. We
of
were
it
working.
all.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Digital, and digital bank and rewards card that gave you cash and incentives for spending on wellness.
yeah, and even then, I love the concept. It was what originally inspired us. It was kind of just what I was saying. It's getting more people in broader areas. It's not just reimbursing the good of the gym. That's a very simple thing. What else counts as wellness and health, and what else is a benefit that should be provided? And it's a lot of things. And seeing you guys as one of the kind of only companies thinking about this broader, more holistic approach to offering benefits and providing kind of a gateway to discovering more. Like, I'm
Mm,
fortunate that, like we said, with my health, and I knew what Athletic Greens was, and I knew what Element was, and I knew all these things. even on that side, like how do you understand these other companies and as a average consumer learn more about it? And I think not just from the business model side that you guys have, but the discovery and kind of opening the minds of some of the consumers to see what's out there as you guys continue to grow the partners you have. That was really exciting to us.
Mm. Yeah, the thing I talk about a lot recently is just that if you look at even what you just said about your own health journey, and we look at our own lives in the last 5 to 10 years, the products and services that we use to feel better, whether it's improving our skin, our sleep, our relationships, our weight, our fitness, like it continues to evolve every day. So being just narrowed in or restricted to like a single provider or company or gym, it just like it doesn't make sense anymore because there's so much optionality. So that's something that gets me excited every day is just that the space is going to continue to evolve and to evolve and grow, and we can be there to help people find things that make them feel well. And I think
Mhm.
that's super aligned with the work that you guys are doing.
And that's where we really like just even the well-being aspect of saying that versus fitness rewards or wellness rewards, like well-being in general. It's one of the main thesis points of how we look at investing. It's like personalized well-being. What does that mean? Nutrition, health, how people eat, how they sleep, what they do. And also the model you guys have, just looking at, you know I'm just excited about people being able to work at a certain place and have access to things through that as a benefit. I mean, we know how competitive it is nowadays with employees and everything else. And how can you, as a company, add value as well? So it makes so much sense on both sides.
Hmm. What are there any products, services, new brands that you've been using in your own life? You mentioned a couple in terms of just like nutritional supplements, Element and Athletic Greens. Is Element is in like the hydration and electrolyte? Are you talking about them?
Yeah. So like Rob Wolf
Yeah.
and James from Proton Enterprises, phenomenal product. If you're fasting and you're following a strict ketogenic diet, it's so helpful. It's funny. I joined, fitness has been such a big part of my life. And for the past year and a half plus, I haven't done anything. I've walked and maintained like a diet but zero working out. Because my body was just in such kind of disarray. So thinking about going back to fitness, I joined Future
Mm,
because I was concerned that I would hurt myself, which I did. Still, even with Future, the coach is amazing. The product is phenomenal. Huge fan of what they've done. The way that I even kind of tweeted this out, I said I wish as a coach and trainer I had a product like this to be able to share my information back in the day. Go to a place, find a really qualified trainer, coach, and pick who fits you, and then work with them and customize at scale. It was awesome, but I immediately, as soon as we got to use weights at all, I was like, I can deadlift 225, and I hurt my back again. My body's not ready to actually lift, but Future was a big part of it. I'm trying to think.
so Future is just for out there, those out there who don't know, it's like a coach that you can pay on demand, and you pay Future a subscription fee. Is it like $100 a month or more than that?
I think it's in that range, yeah. And
Yeah,
so with Future, it's not a platform for coaches. They employ and they have the coaches
yeah,
through them.
they
So they're almost like a marketplace for
yeah.
that, but they have it. So it's we call it insider like managed coaching, kind of like
And then
the yeah.
do you do a fitness? Do you do a workout with that trainer, like in real time, or is it more like you work out and then go back to the trainer with your questions?
Yeah, it's really cool. So you on board, you meet the trainer, you do like a quick FaceTime and kind of talk through what you're looking for. And then they use their app and their kind of systems, which get the trainer builds me a program like remote coaching where they are
Mm,
coaching me. I don't have to follow along. I can go do it at the gym or at home on my own time. And as I go through the program, there's exercise videos all along the way. The coach will be in your ear and cue you. It's tied to your Apple Watch for tracking your actual outcomes for health and
wow,
fitness. Really great product. And I see that there's an accountability aspect that makes it easy for the average consumer to be like, oh, I can follow along. It makes it so simple, but it is customized, which is a great balance.
super cool,
Yeah, so
super
that
cool.
was fun. And then outside of that, I'm just like a garage gym nerd with Joe, where we just buy a bunch of Rogue stuff and kettlebells, and what did we just buy? The Rogue Echo bike.
Oh, cool.
So yeah,
What's that?
it's like a Airdyne bike, like that the CrossFit gyms have had, where the
The
fans,
one that
but
you
yeah.
like go like that, and yeah.
So we bought that, and what else? Just stuff like that. Joe and I really enjoy the functional side of fitness and all the new toys, and just working out that way. And then the last thing, which is so funny, pickleball. I started playing pickleball,
Oh,
and it's so much fun, and you get a ton of exercise. And for me, it's a great way to ease my way back into um, being healthy, playing pickleball. And then the
I've
last
never
thing.
tried it. Our head of ops is obsessed
Oh,
and
really?
loves.
So much
Yeah, he
fun.
loves.
As a team, you should
Yeah,
play. It's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
And then the last thing is, plugging in another company we invested in, Spot, the walking meeting software. I try my best to take meetings walking
Oh,
outside. I have a
wow.
system. I walk, and I'll get in 15,000, 20,000 steps in a day, and
I've
taking
yet
five
to try
miles.
that. So how does that work? Can you walk us through it? I'm supposed to have their founder on the podcast too.
Oh, Greg's such a cool guy. And, essentially, when you're on a walking meeting, the hard thing is, how do you take notes? How do you make it a more kind of like Zoom like experience without having to actually be in video and stand in one place or sit in one place? So they built this really cool system where you can build an itinerary, you can into a meeting room, but it's audio based. And then you can say, hey, Spot, and it can go back and transcribe the last X amount of time of the call, or you can have certain parts of the call transcribed, so that if you
Mm.
want to take notes, it's easier. Then you don't have to have your phone out when you're walking. And, there's still an early product, but really excited about, and this goes back to what you were saying before, something that can just get more people to walk is so impactful
Mm.
at scale. If you're
It's
sitting less and you're walking
yeah.
more, even 5, 10,000 steps, we did a report not too long ago that was on people being sedentary, and like they're not moving at all. Some people don't move whatsoever. They walk, limited number of steps a day, and they participate in very limited activity. Walking is a great way to get people going.
Mm. It doesn't do anything like automatically mute you when you're walking. Does it do that? Yeah.
I don't think so.
Or like mute you when you're not talking. I feel like something like that could be. And is it still like a Zoom? Is it a Zoom meeting, or is it actually you're using Spot for the meeting?
Spot's app. They have their own app, and you kind of call in. It's still,
Oh,
I think it just
cool.
came out of beta not too long ago, and they're growing there. But really cool product, and I'm just excited about the long term potential. Having a team, I mean, it's a great experience. I think he was a cameo before this. Um, Being able to tackle the idea of how do we get people and give them the tools they need to just change how they do things day to day, and give, for me, what kept me truly sane and healthy through all of the pandemic, being sick and what I was doing. I wasn't allowed to meet many people or spend time with people. I would go walk, and I would take walking meetings
Yeah, it's the
outside, and it was
best.
awesome.
It's I have an idea that is very, very rough on the walking world of walking. And I don't know enough about Tonal's technology to know if this is even possible at all. But it's called Magic Stick, and it's a connected fitness device that's a walking stick that you can just like take up on a hill, and then it can like convert it can like you can add weight to it, and it can walk you through a workout, and it can be like the adult bop it. So if anyone's listening that wants to build that, we'll Fitt and JOON will invest.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. It's so
Yeah.
funny thinking about all that stuff is awesome. And that's what, one of the things we really are excited about is we built a jobs board it's still
Yeah.
kind of in beta, but we're launching it. It's free, has 100 companies so far, 1,000 jobs on a monthly basis. And we want more people like you, and like Greg, and like everyone else out there that has an interest in health and fitness, but they work in tech, or they work in real estate, or they work somewhere else. The industry's big enough, the funding's there, the companies are there. Come work in the space, find a good
Yeah.
job, get paid well to also work on stuff that you're excited about.
Yeah, I've thought about that too, because I'm connected to a lot of incredible heads of people and companies that are now our clients, and then I'm also connected to an amazing pool of just people. And there's a big shift in in people that want to work for companies that are aligned with their values and aligned with their lifestyle and aligned with a mission that's like making people healthier and happier. So that's very needed I've thought about like starting a company called Healthy People Recruiting, where you're just like recruiting healthy people to go work for healthy companies, which is sort of like what you're
We got
doing
to
at
talk.
job
We got to
board.
talk after this
Yeah,
on that. We have to chat because we're working on some
yeah,
stuff, and that's where, going forward, we have some really grand plans in the whole landscape of everything, and just trying to be the center of the community and the audience. And our biggest thing is there's more than enough opportunity for everybody, and how can we, whether it's a fund or a company or an individual, whatever, we're just trying to do our best to kind of support the system in general.
amazing. Big fan of you and the work that you all are doing. People can learn more. Is it fitinsider.com?
Insider.fit.co, a little bit complicated.
Insider.fit.co.
If you go to fitinsider.com, it'll redirect you to, but the main thing is
Cool.
there. And
yeah, insider.fit.co.
Appreciate you having
where
me
can
on.
people learn more? The podcast, you're subscribing to your newsletter. What else can people do to support y'all?
Newsletter and podcast are the two main ways. Just like you, I'm very active on LinkedIn and share a ton of our articles and content that goes out that way. And then just reach out if you want to chat about stuff, if you have jobs you want to post, if you're a company looking for funding from us or somebody else. And hopefully we can keep working on stuff together. I'm excited.
Yeah, likewise. Likewise, Anthony. Thank you. Hopefully next time we could have Joe on.
Yeah, maybe not, but we'll see.
Okay, maybe I can join him for a pod. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll chat soon.
All right, thanks so much.